Hey guys, Tom here from synthhacker.com, and in this video we're going to be looking at making this kind of really nice, gorgeous Trance Pluck completely from scratch. Really nice sound. It's kind of got that like classic like Deadmau5 feel. Not that Deadmau5 has like a monopoly on this sound or anything like that, but that's kind of like the first thing that kind of comes to mind. And it's just a really nice pluck sound, and we're going to be making this completely from scratch within Massive. But I'll just quickly mention, as you can see up at the top here, this is Pluck 01 from the trance section of my Massive mega pack, which actually contains over 500 presets for Massive, including 100 trance presets, 20 of which are different styles of plucks like this. And this is included in that. So if that's something that interests you, definitely go ahead and go and check that out over at synthhacker.com, or just click the link in the description below and it'll take you there, and there's audio demos and stuff like that. I really think you'll get a lot of use out of that pack, so be sure to go check that out. But without further ado, let's begin making this sound completely from scratch. So we're just going to click new sound here, and we're going to have a brand new patch. So I'm just going to do everything and explaining kind of the theory behind what I'm doing it. So the first thing you're going to want to make sure to do is to make sure that all three oscillators are switched on. We're going to be using 2 at the default octave, and then we're going to also have a third oscillator which is going to be an octave above the other 2 as well. But before we dive into those, the main thing we want to make sure we do is go into the voicing tab here and increase the unison to around 7. Now, essentially, all unison is the amount of voices that each octave is outputting per note. So, for instance, if we just had oscillator 1 playing a saw wave, when unison is set to 7, the oscillator is going to be outputting 7 individual saw waves that are all slightly detuned from one another, which is how really you create kind of thickness within sounds. And excuse me, the amount that these different voices are detuned by is set by this unison spread pitch cutoff. So we're just going to move this ever so slightly to the right, and that essentially is the amount that each individual voice is going to be detuned. So we are going to be using saw waves. We're going to use this saw 2 wave table though, because I just prefer it. I don't know what it is. I think it's because it has a lot more like higher harmonics in the sound. As I mentioned, we're going to make sure that oscillator 3 here is 12 semitones or 1 octave above oscillator 1 and 2. So right now all we've got is this. So already you can hear how thick that sounds. It doesn't yet have the kind of pluck-like nature to the sound though. Just make sure that the wavetable position on all these oscillators is all the way to the right, so we are just completely getting a saw wave, because obviously the other end of the wavetable position is a square wave. Make sure that intensity is full for each of these oscillators, and make sure that each one is being routed through just filter 1. We're only using filter 1 in this sound. The next thing we're going to do is jump into the noise oscillator here, and just to add a bit of high into the sound, we're going to add some bright noise. But this is going to be the amplitude for this noise is going to be controlled by a completely different envelope to the amplitude envelope, which is envelope 4. Because we want this to be kind of be the amplitude for the noise to only be at the start of the sound, so we want the decay to be a bit shorter. So we're just going to drag and drop this on here, and again just make sure it's being routed through filter 1. So let's move on to the actual filter section of the sound, and then we'll look at the envelopes and effects. So we're going to use this low pass 4-pole filter. I really like the low pass 4-pole filter on Pluck sounds because it is a bit more extreme than the low pass 2 pole filter. Essentially, all you really need to know about that is that low pass 4-pole filter, because it's more extreme, it's going to cut off more of the highs, and because of that, because it's kind of a more extreme filter, when you then automate the cutoff, it has kind of more like a pronounced effect, which I really like. And then what we're going to do is set up a envelope here to modulate the cutoff of this low pass filter. So we're going to give it just a little bit of release. We're going to take the sustain all the way down and just give it a little bit of decay. Then what we're going to do is drag and drop it onto this cutoff here, and you'll instantly hear the effect that this has. So you can hear like that pluck sound. The only thing I don't like at the minute about the filter is that the resonance is all the way up. We're actually going to turn this all the way down. So already you can really hear the effect that that's having. I really, really like it. Resonance, essentially, you want this turned down because it's going to boost the frequencies around the cutoff point. And although it's nice on some sounds, for this particular sound, I don't really like that effect very much. But if you like it, feel free to give it a little bit of resonance. We're also going to give the amplitude envelope of the sound a more Pluck-like nature as well, and give it a little bit of release. There we go. And then next thing we're going to do is dive into the effects section, and we're just going to add some reverb. Now, personally, I would probably recommend using an external reverb. Like Massive Reverb is alright, and it's actually better than the reverbs I've heard in some other soft synths. But you know, when you're using plugins that are like dedicated to reverb, like anything by I like Isotopes, Ozone, like Convolution Reverb I really like, or the Valhalla reverbs are really nice. Those kind of dedicated reverb plugins usually sound a little bit better than the default one. But for now, we are just going to stick with the inbuilt reverb in Massive. We're just going to increase the size a little bit and bring down the dry wet. I'm going to increase the density and just bring the color down just to take some of the higher frequencies out of the reverb, kind of like the effect that that has. And then we can hear the result of this now. So it's very nearly there. The only thing that I would recommend doing is actually increasing this high shelf in the EQ, and essentially this is just going to boost the high frequencies of the sound just to give it a bit of a brighter sound. And there we go, that's our finished classic Trance Pluck. Really, really nice sound. There's a lot of different directions that you can take this, as I mentioned, using external effects. Maybe experimenting with some different wavetables. That's how I got a lot of variety of different plucks in my preset pack for Massive, was experimenting with a lot of different wavetables. You know, experimented a bit with different filter settings and different filter types as well. Maybe running them in series so you can run them through one filter and then another. But yeah, really, really nice sound. Quite simple, but hopefully you guys got some use out of this. Again, if you haven't already, go ahead and visit synthhacker.com and go check out the audio demos for my Massive preset pack, which again has over 500 presets in it, and it also comes with a 1.5 hour video course as well. I don't think I mentioned that at the start of the video, and I think you guys will really, really find that helpful. Be sure to subscribe as well. That's a really great way to support me and the channel, and also stay up to date with future videos as well. Drop a like if you got some use out of the video, and if you have any questions at all, feel free to leave a comment down below. So that's all from me, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.